Something extraordinary is happening in Miami right now, and if you've even glanced at social media in the last 2 days, you already feel it. There's this energy, this electric current running through the entire tennis world, and it all traces back to one person. A 20-year-old from the Philippines named Alex, who walked into the 2026 Miami Open and somehow made the whole sport stop and stare. We're not talking about a feel-good underdog story anymore. We're past that. What's unfolding at Hard Rock Stadium right now is something much bigger, something that only comes around once in a generation, and the numbers back it up in a way that genuinely makes your jaw drop. During an 18-hour window at this tournament, a single Alex match drew more streaming views than every other WTA match happening that same day combined. Every single one. Grand Slam champions, top 10 veterans, established fan favorites, all of them combined couldn't touch her numbers. That's not a statistic you just scroll past. That tells you something profound is happening here. And yet, here she is, standing on the edge of the quarterfinals, with a sold-out crowd packed into every corner of that stadium, wearing the colors of the Philippine flag, about to face one of the most tactically complex opponents on the entire women's tour. Karolína Muchová, world number 14. And the story gets even deeper than that, because this isn't just any match. This is the match where Alex has a chance to finally slay a ghost that's been haunting her career since the very beginning. Let's rewind and properly set the scene, because to understand what's at stake tomorrow, you need to understand the journey that brought her here. The Miami Open is not a casual event on the tennis calendar. This is a WTA 1000 tournament, which means it sits just one tier below the Grand Slams in terms of ranking points, prize money, and sheer prestige. The hard courts here in Miami Gardens play fast, the humidity wraps around you like a wet blanket, and the pressure builds with every round. This is a pressure cooker environment. And what makes Alex so fascinating is that she doesn't just survive in these environments. She feeds off them. Last year, as a qualifier, she came into this exact tournament virtually unknown outside of Filipino tennis circles and went on a run that shook the entire sport. She reached the semifinals, knocking out giants along the way, and turned herself into a household name overnight. That Miami run was the spark. But this year, 2026, is a completely different story. She's not sneaking up on anyone. She's not the surprise guest at the party. She is the party. Everyone knows she's coming, and they're buying tickets weeks in advance just to be in the same building when she plays. Think about what that means for a 20-year-old who 2 years ago was still grinding through qualifiers. The tournament staff here have openly admitted they were caught off guard by the sheer volume of fans showing up just to watch her practice sessions. Practice sessions. Not even match play. Just watching her hit balls on a practice court drew crowds that most players would be happy to have for an actual match. The grandstand was packed to the absolute rafters for her round of 32, and by every account from people who were there, it felt less like a regular tour match and more like a championship final. The noise, the flags, the chanting, it was something else entirely. But here's the thing about Alex that separates her from other players who generate hype. She backs it up every single time she walks through that gate. She doesn't wilt under the weight of expectation. She seems to grow taller when the stakes get higher, and her path to this round of 16 is the perfect proof of that. She opened her Miami campaign against the experienced German veteran Laura Siegemund, and that match pushed her to the absolute edge. 3 hours and 20 minutes of brutal, grinding, back-and-forth tennis that tested every single dimension of her game. Her stamina, her patience, her mental toughness. A lot of players, especially younger ones, come out of a war like that completely drained, both physically and emotionally. They go through the motions in the next round. They lose focus. Not Alex. She came back sharper. In the round of 32, she ran into Magda Linette of Poland, ranked around 50 in the world, a player who had just pulled off a major upset by eliminating a former Miami champion. Linette arrived with momentum and confidence. Alex responded with something close to a masterclass. She took the first set 6-3 in just 40 minutes, dictating every rally, controlling the geometry of the court, and making Linette look like she was always just one step behind. When Linette dug deep and forced a tiebreak in the second set, Alex didn't flinch. She won that tiebreak 7-2. Clinical. Cold-blooded. The whole match wrapped up in under 2 hours, and what impressed analysts just as much as the result was the how. She was targeting Lynette's second serve with surgical precision, stepping in early, taking time away, and punishing anything that landed short. That's not just power tennis. That's intelligent tennis. That's a player who has been studying her opponent and executing a game plan with genuine discipline. And now, she stands one win away from the quarterfinals of a WTA 1000 event in the city where her legend first began to take shape. Standing across the net will be Karolína Muchová. And this is where the storyline gets layered, because Muchova is not just a tough opponent. She is arguably one of the most stylistically challenging players in the world for someone like Alex to face. Muchova is 29 years old, from the Czech Republic, currently ranked 14th in the world, and she's done things in this sport that demand your full respect. She reached the final of the French Open in 2023, pushing Iga Swiatek to the absolute limit in a match people still talk about. She's been to the semifinals of the Australian Open, the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, the quarterfinals of the US Open. She won the WTA 1000 title in Doha earlier this year, beating Victoria Mboko in the final. This is a decorated, battle-hardened competitor who knows how to win big matches on big stages. And her form coming into this match is genuinely scary. She dismantled Camila Osorio, then knocked out Katie Boulter, the British #1, in straight sets. She's sharp, she's confident, and she's playing with that particular kind of relaxed aggression that the best players find when everything is clicking. But here's what makes this matchup so deeply compelling beyond just the quality of both players. There is a pattern in Alex's career that has quietly become one of the most discussed topics among hardcore tennis analysts, and it goes by an unofficial name that fans have started throwing around online: the Czech curse. As of right now, Alex holds a professional record of 0 wins and 11 losses against players from the Czech Republic. 0-11. In a career where she has knocked out Grand Slam champions, former world #1s, and elite players from every corner of the globe, Czech players have been her kryptonite. The most recent example came just weeks ago at Indian Wells. She faced Linda Noskova in the round of 16. Noskova ranked 13th in the world at the time, and Alex was playing some of the best tennis of her life heading into that match. It didn't matter. She was taken apart 2-6, 2-6. A result that looked almost impossible on paper given the form she'd been carrying. So, why does this keep happening? If you look at the Czech developmental system, there's a specific philosophy baked into how their players are trained. They tend to favor flat, penetrating ground strokes, clean ball striking, taking the ball early before the opponent has time to reset. When you face a Czech player, they're constantly compressing the time you have to prepare your shots. And for Alex, who generates enormous topspin on her forehand and needs that extra half second to load up properly, that relentless flat pace can completely unravel her rhythm. She ends up rushed. Her ground strokes lose their depth. And suddenly, the biggest weapon in her arsenal starts to feel like a liability. But here's the critical nuance that makes tomorrow's match different from everything that's come before. Muchova is not Noskova. She is not Linda Karolina. She's not any of the players who've beaten Alex through raw flat hitting. Muchova is a chess player. She doesn't overpower you. She disorients you. She hits high looping balls when you expect pace. She slices low when you want to drive through. She drops the ball short just when you've settled into a baseline rhythm. She walks up to the net at moments that feel almost illogical until suddenly the point is over and you're standing there wondering what just happened. So the Czech curse in this context isn't about flat pace. It's about variety. It's about disruption. It's about an opponent who refuses to let you play your game, which means Alex faces a specific kind of problem tomorrow. She has to be disciplined enough to construct points patiently, to stay within herself, and to execute a tactical plan even when the match stops feeling comfortable. When Muchova starts bending the rhythm with slices and drop shots, the instinct for a young, powerful baseliner is to try and force the issue. To overplay. To go for too much too early. And that's exactly when errors pile up and matches slip away. The antidote, according to everyone who's watched Alex develop over the past year, is what the analysts are calling controlled aggression. She has to pick her moments carefully. She has to get down to those low-sliced balls with bent knees and proper footwork, not arm swing her way through them from a flat-footed stance. When she does get a ball she can drive, she has to commit fully to her forehand and redirect it deep to Muchova's backhand, keeping Muchova behind the baseline and preventing her from attacking the net. And the serve. The serve is going to be massive in this match. Against Lynette, one of Alex's sharpest weapons was exploiting Lynette's second serve, stepping in and taking control immediately. Muchova is going to try to do the exact same thing to her. Muchova is an exceptional returner who absolutely loves short second serves, either blasting them for winners or chipping and charging to take control of the net. Alex cannot afford to spray in short, slow second serves at 55 or 60 miles per hour and expect to survive. She needs her first serve percentage up, her slider out wide working, and enough variety on the second serve to keep Muchova from planting her feet and unloading. If Alex can win the serve battle and keep Muchova pinned behind the baseline consistently, she has a real path through this match. If she loses that battle, it's going to be an incredibly long afternoon. Then there's the mental dimension, and this might actually be the most important piece of everything. Alex is defending the points she earned here last year when she made that miraculous semi-final run as a qualifier. In professional tennis, when you go deep in a tournament and return the following year, the ranking system means you have to match or exceed that result just to stay where you are. Fail to go at least as deep, and your ranking drops. That's a quiet but enormous psychological burden. It means every match here isn't just about advancing. It's about protecting what she's built. For a 20-year-old, that kind of pressure can harden into something heavy and paralyzing if you let it. But listen to what Alex said in her press conference after the Lynette match. She said she feels like she's matured significantly over the past year, that the big stages and high-pressure moments she's been through have shaped her into someone who genuinely welcomes these situations rather than running from them. She talked about how being in the fourth round of Miami again gives her the same joy and excitement she felt last year, not anxiety. That's a telling statement. That's a player who has done the internal work, who has made peace with the size of the moment, and who walks onto that court tomorrow not carrying pressure, but choosing to embrace it. She's also gone on record saying she watched Muchova play in that French Open final a few years back and came away deeply impressed. There's something genuinely beautiful about that. She's not dismissing the opponent to protect her own confidence. She's acknowledging exactly how good Muchova is, which means she's preparing with full seriousness and full respect. That combination of humility and competitive fire is something that coaches spend entire careers trying to instill in young players. Alex seems to have found it naturally. And tomorrow, the crowd is going to be absolutely extraordinary. The Filipino community across Florida and the wider United States has mobilized in a way that tournament officials have never seen before for a player outside the very top of the rankings. The stadium is going to be draped in red, white, blue, and yellow. Every Alex winner is going to feel like a stadium goal. But there's a balance she has to strike. That kind of crowd support is an incredible gift. It lifts you. It gives you energy when your legs feel heavy late in the third set. But it can also tighten you up if you start playing for the crowd instead of for the match. The best players learn how to absorb crowd energy without being consumed by it. They channel it internally rather than perform for it externally. Alex has shown glimpses of that maturity already this week, and tomorrow will be her biggest test yet. When you zoom out from the tactical analysis and the statistical history and the crowd dynamics, you're left with something that feels genuinely rare in sport. A moment that transcends the match itself. Because regardless of what happens when that first ball is tossed tomorrow, what Alex has already done in Miami this week and across this past year represents something bigger than rankings and results. She has given an entire nation a reason to wake up early, stay up late, and gather around a screen with pure joy and nervous excitement. She has walked into one of the most established, deeply traditional sports in the world and made it feel alive and urgent and personal to people who never watched a single WTA match before she came along. That is extraordinarily difficult to do, and she has done it at 20 years old. Tomorrow's match is everything. It's the clash of styles, the test of tactics, the weight of expectations, and the ghost of a 0-11 record that has been waiting for someone to finally put it to rest. Muchova is brilliant and experienced and playing her best tennis. The pressure on Alex is immense from every angle. But if the last 2 years have taught us anything about this young woman, it's that she finds a way to be her very best precisely when the moment feels too big for anyone else. The quarterfinals are right there. The crowd will be deafening. The tennis world will be watching. And somewhere on that court in Miami tomorrow, Alex is going to reach deep into herself and remind everyone exactly why this sport has never had anyone quite like her.